Small gardens are supposed to feel like calm retreats, little worlds of balance and beauty where every leaf has a purpose. But sometimes, the plants we choose are the very things that break that harmony. Many classic favorites look stunning in large landscapes or magazine photos, but in tight spaces, they grow out of scale, steal light, and throw everything off balance. Today, let's explore 7 popular plants that might look beautiful at first, but can turn your compact garden into an overgrown struggle. First up, bamboo, a tall and graceful evergreen that promises instant privacy and a soothing rustle in the breeze. It's easy to see the appeal. Tall, elegant stems, rustling softly in the breeze, and instant privacy that makes any small space feel secluded. But what most gardeners don't realize is that bamboo spreads underground through fast-moving rhizomes. And once it starts, it's relentless. Within a year or two, new shoots can emerge several feet away from where you planted it, breaking through paving stones, edging, or even creeping into your neighbor's yard. As it overgrows, bamboo quickly chokes out surrounding plants, disrupts root systems, and dominates water and nutrients. Its dense clumps block airflow and light, creating damp conditions that attract pests and mold. Removing it can take years of digging and root control barriers. If you love the graceful movement bamboo brings, choose clumping species like Fargesia rufa, which stay contained naturally. Or for the same softness without the risk, go with ornamental grasses such as Hacanacloa macra areola. They sway beautifully in the wind, but never take more space than they're given. Next, butterfly bush, a flowering shrub that's adored for its long purple blooms and irresistible pull on butterflies. It's one of those plants that promises magic, purple blooms, endless butterflies, and a sense of life in the garden. But the truth is, butterfly bush is often too aggressive for confined borders. It grows fast, often over 6 feet tall, and quickly becomes leggy, woody, and unbalanced. In a small front yard, it dominates the scene, covering windows, shading nearby flowers, and forcing constant pruning to keep it under control. Once it overgrows, the base becomes sparse, while the upper canopy takes all the light, leaving empty soil below and messy proportions. And because it self-seeds easily, you'll often find unwanted seedlings popping up nearby. If you still love its charm, try Bedelia, lo and behold, blue chip, a dwarf hybrid that tops out around 2 feet tall but blooms just as beautifully. It stays neat, colorful, and pollinator-friendly without turning your borders into a thicket. Coming in third, wisteria, a breathtaking climber with cascading lavender blooms that drape like living curtains. There's something undeniably romantic about wisteria. The cascading clusters of lavender blooms look like living chandeliers. But behind that dream is a plant with unstoppable strength. Wisteria vines can thicken to the width of a wrist, wrapping tightly around supports and pulling down lightweight trellises, fences, or even gutters. In small gardens, that kind of growth is disastrous. It blocks sunlight, damages wooden structures, and its roots spread deeper each year, feeding a relentless top growth that's nearly impossible to contain. Even when pruned regularly, it sends out long whips that quickly reclaim every surface they can find. If you want that same dreamy look, go for Clematis acmeni. It climbs softly, flowers profusely, and doesn't smother the space. Star jasmine is another great pick. Evergreen, fragrant, and perfectly scaled for porches and compact fences. You'll still get romance without the chaos. Fourth on the list, Hydrangea paniculata, a lush flowering shrub with creamy blooms that add instant charm. Hydrangeas are one of the most beloved shrubs for front yards, lush, round, and bursting with summer blooms. But standard varieties of Hydrangea paniculata can easily reach 2 meters across, leaving no room for companion plants. In a small foundation bed, that kind of mass quickly swallows the entire space. As they expand, the dense foliage blocks airflow near your home, trapping moisture against walls and windows. Their heavy blooms also droop onto paths and make garden maintenance more difficult. Pruning them down each year only encourages stronger regrowth, and within a season, they're just as large again. For tighter spaces, choose compact cultivars like hydrangea little lime or mini penny. These stay around 1 meter tall, hold their shape naturally, and still deliver that signature full romantic bloom. They give structure and volume without suffocating everything around them. Next up, Russian sage, a tall and silvery perennial that glows under sunlight. It's tall, airy, and silvery, the kind of plant that glows under sunlight. But in smaller gardens, that loose form becomes a problem. By midsummer, Russian sage flops outward, tangling with nearby plants and spilling into paths. It might look wild and graceful in a meadow, but in a structured, suburban bed, it reads as messy and overgrown. The stems grow woody at the base, while the upper parts stretch unevenly toward light, giving it a weedy, unbalanced appearance. When packed too tightly, it overshadows low-growing flowers and breaks the garden's rhythm. For the same soft blue tone, try catmint. It stays low, rounded, and covered in lavender blooms for months. Plus, it's drought-tolerant, pollinator-friendly, and keeps a clean silhouette. Everything you want in a small garden performer. Coming up, forsythia, a bright yellow herald of spring that bursts with energy after a long winter. Few plants shout spring as loudly as forsythia, with its explosion of yellow flowers in early March. But once the bloom fades, what remains is a fast-growing tangle of green stems that stretch outward in every direction. In small spaces, it quickly engulfs neighboring plants, blocks light, and demands pruning several times a year to stay contained. Left unchecked, it can form thick, woody bases that are nearly impossible to shape neatly again. The wild sprawl creates shade pockets that stunt nearby perennials and make the whole garden feel crowded and uneven. If you love bright color early in the season, replace it with Spirea japonica gold flame. Its foliage starts bronze red in spring, shifts to chartreuse in summer, and turns orange in fall, giving you 3 seasons of interest in one tidy mound. It's vibrant, compact, and easy to manage. And finally, pampas grass, the tall, feathery showpiece that looks stunning in photos. Few plants make a statement like pampas grass, tall, feathery plumes waving in the wind. But what looks soft and dreamy from afar can be a nightmare in small gardens. Mature clumps can span over 2 meters wide, and their razor-sharp leaves can cut skin. They shed heavily in fall, fill gutters with dry blades, and in dry regions become a serious fire hazard. In tight spaces, they overwhelm everything nearby, blocking light and creating dense, dry barriers that harbor pests. Even trimming or removing them is difficult because of the sheer size and toughness of their stems. Instead, use dwarf fountain grass, Pennisetum hamelin. It has that same golden movement in the breeze, stays under 1 meter tall, and transitions beautifully through the seasons. Green in summer, copper in fall, and soft tan in winter. It keeps the elegance, but never the chaos. Small gardens thrive on balance, not excess. When plants are scaled to the space, everything feels open, alive, and intentional. Overgrown shrubs may look impressive for a year, but soon they'll turn your peaceful retreat into a fight for sunlight and breathing room. So before planting that next statement piece, take a moment to imagine it 2 or 3 years from now. Because in small gardens, beauty isn't about how big things grow. It's about how well everything belongs.